everyone! As we have learned about fertilization, let's widen your knowledge with our activity today. First, let's watch a video and make observations on the process of fertilization.
In this video then we'll look at the beginning of development, looking into the ovary at an unfertilized egg. It then gets fertilized by sperm which travel down the fallopian tube. So here millions of sperm coming along. Several of them will hit the egg and try to penetrate it, but one will win, as it were, go into the nucleus, and then there's a reprogramming process where the male and female nuclei have their genes set aside to be turned on and off for early development. Here you see early cleavage stages occurring, and this is one of the early growth phases. As the embryo moves down the fallopian tube, it's going to form an important stage called the blastocyst here in a few seconds. Of course, in real life that takes days, about 5 days. At this stage then, I'd like to draw your attention to the inside of the blastocyst, where there are cells called the inner cell mass, which I'll be abbreviating as ICM. Those are the cells that make the entire animal, and the outer cells give rise to the placenta and other supporting tissues. At this stage, the embryo implants into the wall of the uterus. This is when a pregnancy is really initiated. And now we'll see those blue inner cell mass cells form a disc, and then as the cells continue to grow, they change their physical positions, their kind of geographical relationship to one another. And you'll see that represented here as this disc gets transformed into an embryo. Those lines represent sites where cells are migrating in and out. And here's an important stage when the three beginning layers of the embryo, the so-called germ layers, are formed, and I'll come back to that in a few minutes. As development proceeds, there's more growth and movement of cells. It'll begin to form a neural tube. Here it turns, and appendages start to bud out. You see the head forming and the eye. And then eventually we get a small embryo, and some months later, of course, this would be born as a young baby.
I hope you enjoyed watching and observing the video I have presented. Now let's apply your knowledge with these following questions. What do you think will need to occur in order for both systems to create an individual? What parts of the reproductive system did you see? Is there anything from the video that you would like to see again or discuss? Now, let me call someone to elaborate and explain their answer in front. For our next activity, it is called Sexual Reproduction Steps. Let's do this activity as a large group. I have drawn here a big Y, one arm of the Y as female, the other arm as male, and a pregnancy at the end. I have this card. It is written here, the different steps in reproduction. I want you to place each step in order along each arm of the Y. Very good, children. You have completed the task. Can someone summarize the steps in reproduction? For our last activity, create a digital story, skit, picture book, or something of your choosing to tell a story about sexual reproduction and present it in front of the class. You have 15 minutes to do this task. Hope you enjoy our activity today. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Again, this is Teacher Justine, scientifically saying, let us indulge ourselves in the ways of science